Round 2 Wrestling is back. I am SlimmDa KID. Welcome to another podcast. This is number 7 this year in the year 2022. We have quite a bit to go over, so bear with me as I get through all this information with you. Starting out with our rumors section of Round 2 Wrestling, former Impact World Champion Josh Alexander rumored to be leaving Impact. This is due in part to his contract expiring with this promotion, and to coincide with this contract expiring, his work visa to work in the United States has also expired. For those of you who do not know, Josh Alexander is a Canadian, so he's going to have to work something out with the Canadian government and the American government to extend his work visa so he's able to remain here in the United States. However, this does make him a very sought-after free agent. Is AEW next? Ring of Honor? WWE, who knows, but Josh Alexander is definitely one to keep your eyes on here in the next couple of weeks. WWE offers contract to former Ring of Honor Women's Champion Roxy, as reported by Dave Meltzer. For those of you who don't know, Roxy has been skyrocketing towards the top in Ring of Honor. She, at one point in time, had a very, very highly touted bout with the Impact Women's Champion about 3 weeks, maybe a month ago. WWE is quite well known for their women's roster. This would be an excellent addition. However, don't look for Roxy to make the main roster right away if WWE does grab her. She'll probably stick around on the NXT circuit for a while before getting bumped up to the Smackdown or Raw rosters. Matt Men's Andrew Zarian claims to know for a fact that WWE is interested in current TBS champion Jade Cargill. This is no surprise. Jade Cargill is this generation's version of Chyna. She's a big, strong, good-looking woman who has a very large repertoire of wrestling moves and can basically stand in there with almost anybody and everybody. And I would even dare to say she could probably hold her own against a man. So it's no surprise that WWE is interested in Jade. However, I think it's going to take quite a bit in order to get the current TBS champion to jump ship over to WWE. Then again, money talks. So who knows if this will actually come to light or if this is just something to try to distract AEW and the women's division in general. Former Impact World Champion Josh Alexander, because his contract with Impact is up, and also because his contract working in the United States is up, he is going to be missing the Terminus pay-per-view event and could be gone for several U.S. promotions for an extended period of time. I know I kind of dove over this a little bit at the beginning with the very first rumor being said, but these being rumors, they're changing constantly, and this information I got today, as opposed to the information that I gave you earlier, I got about a week ago. Dave Meltzer also reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that Cody Rhodes leaving AEW to WWE is basically a done deal. Is a WrestleMania event or match in the books for this former AEW TNT champion, or is it simply because of money, or is it because of booking and that Triple H is no longer a dominating factor in that aspect of WWE? Who knows? What we do know is that increasingly over the last 6 to 8 months, Cody Rhodes has become very unpopular within AEW, and his wife Brandy, although very attractive and a good promoter, also not very well received by the AEW fans. This always kind of baffled me. I always kind of liked Cody Rhodes, and I wish him the best in WWE, but at the same time, I don't expect WWE to do too much more than they did with him the last time he was a member of said roster. But again, like we like to say on this show, only time will tell. Moving on to the news portion of Round 2 Wrestling, Tonga re-signs with New Japan Pro Wrestling. No contract length has been announced. Tonga is a 7-time IWGP Tag Champion and a prominent member of Bullet Club. This is a good move for New Japan, which is really running with the whole Bullet Club storyline over there and has been for the last couple of years. I believe Tama Tonga made a appearance on AEW a year, maybe 2 years ago, and he did enough to impress me, but I don't think would have been a good fit on said roster. New Japan seems to be the place for him. I hope him the best in his endeavors over in the land of the rising sun. Former NXT champion Killer Kross announces his return to MLW at MLW Super Fight on the 26th of February. This event will take place in Charlotte, North Carolina. Killer Kross, this was a best kept secret, not, haha. Apparently everybody and their brother knew about this before it actually happened. This was announced last week, and really not a whole lot else has been said in that amount of time. Samoa Joe has been chosen to be inducted into the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. He will join the Briscoe brothers and Bryan Danielson, who are also in the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. Samoa Joe really made his name and made Ring of Honor what it is during his tenure there. I am a bit surprised that he wasn't the first inductee. However, the Briscoe brothers are incredibly loyal to Ring of Honor, and that may have played into it. But we're not going to lie, Samoa Joe's best and brightest days were when he was fighting in a Ring of Honor ring. AEW Executive Vice Presidents Cody and Brandi Rhodes announced their departure from AEW. We covered this just a little bit ago in our rumors section. AEW CEO Tony Khan confirmed this departure via Twitter. This was all over the internet today, all over Facebook, all over anything that you use to talk to your friends and professionals and all that. Again, sort of shocking. It was known for a while that Cody Rhodes was a free agent and AEW was not in any sort of talks with extending his contract. However, the fact that the founder, CEO, and main guy for the whole AEW push to begin with is let go raises a red flag in my mind, but at the same time could also be very good for the company because his replacement taking over those EVP roles is none other than Amanda Huber, John Huber's wife. For those of you who don't know, John Huber was in the AEW as Brody Lee and passed away very unexpectedly the day after Christmas a couple years ago. Amanda has been very involved with the company. Her son, -1, has been given a contract. So I see this going forward in a positive way. No bridges were burned. So AEW is more than happy to welcome Cody Rhodes back into the fold later on, I am guessing. So again, we wish the very best for Brandi and Cody Rhodes here at Round 2 Wrestling and only hope that their run in WWE this time around is much more profitable than the first time around. All right, usually this is the rankings portion of Round 2 Wrestling. However, from the very get-go, this has been problematic and burdensome. I could not find any rankings released before tomorrow to announce to you, so those are unannounced and unreleased here on Round 2 Wrestling. With this coming to light, we are going to be looking for a different subject to insert in place of the rankings portion of Round 2 Wrestling. I really enjoy the ranking system AEW uses. I really enjoy that wins and losses count and mean something in AEW. However, it's very difficult to get accurate rankings when they come out Wednesday, and this broadcast is on a Tuesday. So we are going to be bouncing around some ideas, maybe switching it up week by week and giving you something different, but our rankings portion of Round 2 Wrestling is null and void and over with at this point in time. All right, moving on to the second half of Round 2 Wrestling. These are some results that took place over the past week, and then we have our match of the week and the Michigan highlight. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion El Desperado defeated challenger Master Wato at New Japan Pro Wrestling New Year's Golden Series. This particular pay-per-view was pushed back due to a COVID outbreak in Japan. So this is actually taking place in February. I know the name is misleading. It says New Year's, but again, with all the injuries, delays, and restrictions put in place in Japan, there was simply no room for this event to take place. However, it's very nice and very good to hear that that seems to be winding down over there, over in the Far East, and New Japan is back to promoting its wrestlers. Sami Zayn defeated Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura on Smackdown last week. This information comes via the Wrestling Observer. Sami Zayn again announced several months ago, or about a month ago, that he just signed a very large contract extension with WWE. It is no surprise to see him win the IC Championship. He is a former IC champion, so we hope that he carries this title well and defends it many times and successfully during his tenure as champion. Matt Cardona, former AEW and WWE wrestler, won the NWA World Championship, defeating Trevor Murdoch via pinfall last week on NWA's Power Trip. This is a show that you can watch for free on YouTube. We were just saying in our last broadcast that some promotion needs to grab a hold of Cardona and put the world title on him, and apparently NWA heard my message and did just that. So congratulations, Matt Cardona. I hope that your tenure as world champion is long and prosperous. Moving on to the match of the week. Our match of the week took place on March 30th, 2003. The venue, Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. The place, WrestleMania 19. The match, The Rock vs. Stone Cold Steve Austin 3. This was the third meeting of Rocky vs. Austin. Austin was 2-0 in previous meetings, defeating the Great One at WrestleManias 15 and 17, respectively, both for the then WWF World title. Austin nearly missed WrestleMania 19 due to a near heart attack the previous day from severe dehydration. The Rock would finally beat Austin at WrestleMania in a thrilling finish-heavy bout that saw Steve Austin take 3 rock bottoms in order to be pinned. Steve Austin would retire from in-ring action shortly after this particular match, but we are declaring this match the match of the week because it is rumored that Stone Cold will be in the upcoming WrestleMania. That's right, after a almost 20-year hiatus, it looks like the rattlesnake is stepping back in between the ropes. His rumored opponent, Kevin Owens. We do have a ranking system here on Round 2 Wrestling, and it is a bell system. The match of the week got 4 out of 5 bells, an almost perfect match, and a great way for Stone Cold to finish his in-ring career with the WWE. All right, really quickly moving on to our Michigan highlight. Our Michigan highlight of this week is Juggalo Championship Wrestling, founded by Detroit rap group ICP in 1999. JCW currently runs its promotion across the country, mostly on Slam TV and DVD distributions. Citing inspiration for JCW on the defunct ECW, JCW also specializes on hardcore matches. Colt Cabana, Raven, Sabu, and others are a few wrestlers to grace a JCW ring. Current JCW heavyweight champion is Vampiro, a former WCW standout, and the JCW tag team champions of the world are Mosh Pit Mike and Chewy Martinez. All right, that concludes this portion of Round 2 Wrestling. We thank you for taking the time to listen and look forward to presenting another episode to you next week. Round 2 Wrestling is brought to you by SlimmDa KID and Spreaker.com.